Liquidity is just getting started. I mean, the Fed pivoted in Q4. They didn't call it that, but it is what it is. They call it reserve management, but it's really just QE.
The Fed has flipped to QE for the first time in years.
We announced that we're resuming reserve management purchases.
But they're now purchasing assets again to make sure the funding markets are stable.
$8.16 billion flowed into the system yesterday, with a scheduled $40 to $80 billion per month to come.
They're printing money. They went from letting their balance sheet run off to expanding their balance sheet, $40 billion a month, and that's just the beginning.
Famed investor Lawrence Lepard says you can smell the big print coming. When it comes, Bitcoin's going to scream. We are going to double or triple probably very quickly. We'll also talk about the latest news for XRP, for Ethereum, for other altcoins. Watch today's whole video. And the reason I want to share this clip with you is because Larry Lepard, very well respected, very successful in investor and respected in investing. And when he speaks, smart money tends to listen. I'll play 2 minutes of this clip, then we'll react.
Liquidity is just getting started. I mean, the Fed pivoted in Q4. They didn't call it that, but it is what it is. They call it reserve management, but it's really just QE. They're printing money. They went from letting their balance sheet run off to expanding their balance sheet, $40 billion a month, and that's just the beginning. And as Lynn says, it's, she calls it the gradual print.
And of course, Larry Lepard is referring to another famed investor, Lyn Alden, who says the Fed has entered its gradual print era, meaning not all at once, not an explosion, but gradual step-ups.
It won't be some massive fiscal stimulus. Instead, it'll be this gradual liquidity surplus added to kind of keep the wheels on.
The gradual print is a term coined by macro strategist Lyn Alden to describe her expectation that the U.S. Federal Reserve will be forced into a gradual expansion of its balance sheet, like we're seeing right now, to support ongoing government deficits and prevent a liquidity crisis, rather than a single big print event.
Because as you say, the treasury market pretty much needs that to function. The repo market needs that to function.
Whether it's fast or slow, it's clearly here.
Yesterday, the Fed bought 20 billion of the 58 billion 3-year notes. Today, they bought 14.8 billion of the 42 billion of 10-year notes. If you do the math, each case, it's about 35%. So we're going to see that Fed balance sheet start to grow again. And remember, every Thursday afternoon, we get to see the size. We'll pay particularly close attention this Thursday. And finally...
So it has started off gradual, but that's always how it starts.
She calls it the gradual print, which I accept. I mean, 40 billion a month is only 480 on a balance sheet of 6.5 trillion. That's still modest. But I think the gradual print's going to morph into the big print. I think the reason that's going to occur is that we're back at the point at which money is really tight, and there's all kinds of signs of that. The Fed didn't want to cut rates in the fourth quarter. The Fed didn't want to do what it did. They've tried to rebrand it. They made it seem like, oh, it's no big deal. This is just reserve management. It's not really printing money, but it's printing money. And so, you can smell the big print coming. I think it's highly likely it'll come this year.
And of course, what could this mean for the Bitcoin price? I'm trading on exchange partner CoinW. Link down below to follow along.
And I think when it comes, Bitcoin's going to scream. I mean, we're going to double or triple probably very quickly. So it's just the nature of the beast. I mean, it's interesting to me psychologically that everyone in Bitcoin land now feels the way that the gold people felt in 2023 when gold was flat on its ass after, Bitcoin was too, but after Powell did his whole tightening act, it really hammered gold, and more importantly, it hammered the gold miners. And so we were all walking around pretty beat up, wondering if it's ever going to work. And of course, just give it a little bit of time, and it's worked in spades. I mean, Gold Mining Indices, my fund, et cetera, everything's up 150% plus in 1 year. And so I think that's really what Bitcoiners have to look forward to. And, everybody's kind of getting tested. Do you truly have a long time preference or not? I mean, I get it if you bought it a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, or, even if you bought it at the top at 124, you're down to 90. That's uncomfortable. But those of us who've been around it for a long, long time know that, it can lose 70% of its value and it'll come back. So it's going to come back, and I expect it'll come back with a vengeance this year.
And with all this money getting flushed into the system, the only thing in the short term is the technical setup that Bitcoin is currently in. It's currently bearish, since we broke under that 50-week moving average. For those of you longing the Bitcoin price until we hit this 50-week moving average, do not forget to set some take profits. And what the pros do, set the take profit not at the 50-week, but a little bit under. Now, obviously, all these exchanges are trying to get your business, trying to show you why they're a better exchange. Something that CoinW is offering is 50% off Bitcoin for just the next week. So it's a limited time. Like seriously, you can grab Bitcoin at 50% off plus up to $1,300 of USDT rewards only with referral code AltcoinDaily, link below. And always understand the rules, always understand the catch. And the catch is you must be a new user. So this is not for existing users. So anybody, I like to trade on multiple accounts, have multiple options out there, just like I have multiple different credit cards, unless in case something goes awry or I just need it. So anybody looking for another quality crypto exchange, use code AltcoinDaily and take advantage of the bonuses. And notice which altcoins are quietly making moves in this uncertain period. Ripple wins UK regulatory approval from the Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA. This is a very big deal. This marks a key regulatory milestone as Britain moves to bring crypto to its financial framework.
The UK's reputation for financial integrity and innovation makes it an ideal market for responsible digital asset adoption. And today, I'm proud to announce a major regulatory milestone. Ripple has secured its electronic money institution license and crypto asset registration from the UK's Financial Conduct Authority. This is a major step forward for regulated digital asset here in the United Kingdom. And crucially, this license enables us to bring our flagship offerings, including Ripple payments, directly to UK institutions. The UK is already one of Ripple's largest office hubs outside the US, a clear reflection of our continuous investment in the region's talent and infrastructure. And now with this license, we can lean into the market.
And essentially what this means, because Ripple works with the banks, they work with the financial institutions, they're regulated. Appearing on the register means that Ripple complies with the money laundering and counter-terrorist financing rules, though the approval stops short of full financial services authorization. So they're not a bank, but they can work with the banks. They can work with the financial institutions. This just lets me know, because the UK has signed off on them. I mean, we already kind of know this. The SEC, the US regulators, like Ripple as well. We already know this, but again, this is just more of a green flag. And speaking of US regulators, we also know that the SEC task force says quantum computing could threaten Bitcoin by 2028, urges a move to quantum-resistant systems. And although we know Bitcoin will be fine, that's just FUD. It's been talked to death, Bitcoin and quantum computing. This is where chains like Algorand start making news through that narrative, through Quantum Secure.
And I know Algorand is one of the groups, the few chains that's actively working on making a quantum resilient design. So you mentioned is something being quantum secure. What does that mean to be quantum safe or quantum secure in practice?
Well, the real thing that you have to be very careful about is a blockchain is a ledger of transactions. And so if a bad person could go into that ledger and, take some coins away from me and give them to you just by kind of like changing the accounting on the ledger, then that actually means that you have those coins and I no longer have them. There's no kind of cross verification. So you have to be very careful that the history of transactions of the chain cannot be tampered with. That's the most important component of quantum security. And that's what we have focused a lot of time on. And we've been quantum secure that way for almost 5 years now.
For those of you who haven't, be sure to check out our video, the top 6 crypto altcoins to invest in for 2026, my personal picks. Like always, see you tomorrow. Gonna be a big year.